Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy here for the Daily Blob, where we say, oh, damn, this story's gonna get worse, isn't it? So anyways, I don't know. Last week I talked about Army Reserves Detachment 201, where they're basically taking Silicon Valley executives and they're directly commissioning them into the Army Reserve as lieutenant colonels. And I talked about that a little bit and kind of how weird it is, especially in a non-war scenario, and how, it's just a bit of a weird thing, right? Right now, you have Silicon Valley world really kissing ass to the Trump administration. We have the militarization, process going on, trying to build our military systems. You have Anduril out there that is trying to create quote unquote affordable mass, basically robotic systems to just have so many killer robots go after the enemy that they get overwhelmed. You have a Meta teaming up with Anduril for a XR, an extended reality system for warfighters. And I talked about how Detachment 201 just seemed, I don't know, it just seems very appropriate for 2025, but appropriate in one of those just weird ways. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not anti technology professionals supporting the military or the government, but there's contracting roles, right? There's military contracting roles, there's advisory roles. There's a lot of ways that you can support our military that doesn't give you a rank and also doesn't put you under the auspices of the UCMJ, the Universal Code of Universal Code of Military Justice. And one of the things that I get concerned about, especially under the Trump administration, is when you become a soldier, right, you give up the Constitution, right? We can scream about constitutional rights, rah! You have the red hats screaming over here, and you have the blue hairs screaming over here, and you have most of us in the middle who just want to pay our damn mortgages, right? There's constitutional rights, and where does the Constitution end, and where does the Constitution begin, and who does the Constitution involve, and all that kind of stuff, right? Does an illegal immigrant get constitutional rights, right? That's an argument. That's a screaming session. What's been decided years ago is when you enlist in the military, you give up your constitutional rights. A soldier basically gives up their constitutional rights. There are some limitations to that, but again, in order to have an effective fighting force, you can't tell your soldiers to go take a hill and then have half of them say, nah, I think I'm going to go home and be an accountant now, right? That doesn't work. That doesn't actually work. So anyways, one of my concerns is once you start having these high-ranking technology executives be under the UCMJ and the commander-in-chief, so the head of the military is Donald Trump. Oh, what a sticky wicket that seems to be getting us into. But anyways, initially, I thought this was more puppy dog crap. It's all puppy dog crap, but I thought it was more of the standard puppy dog crap. Again, the GOP, the Republicans, they're prancing around like alpha dog poodles, pissing all over each other and not doing their damn jobs just to show how manly they are. So at first, when I heard about Detachment 201, I have some real concerns. I have real and actual concerns about how quickly our civilian technology companies have pivoted hardcore into national intelligence and military, and then I have some real questions about then taking their executives and literally putting them under the UCMJ. Oh, right, but okay, you take 4 executives, you make them lieutenant colonels, and maybe it's a patriotism thing, maybe it's a jingoism thing. Look at these tech executives serving their country in uniform. Rah, right? Maybe that's all it is. But of course, it's 2025, and it's this timeline. Just when you think, well, maybe that's all it is. Yeah, no. No, it's gonna get so much stupider. So apparently, this program that just brought in those 4 tech executives, they want to expand out to many, many, many other senior technology professionals to directly commission them into the Army Reserve and put them under the UCMJ, which, oh, Lordy. Look, and when I say this, I served, father served, grandfather served, great-grandfather served, stepfather retired, his father retired. The military service in my family goes all the way back to the Civil War. I'm not anti-supporting our military. Oh, but I also do believe in the Constitution. I'm one of those strange people. I'm one of those weird people that's like, yeah, I support the military and I support the Constitution too. Woohoo! Anyways, so this is interesting. So this is from the Army Reserve. The Army Reserve has their own thing that they put out articles, and they're talking about Army Reserve soldiers, front and center of Army's new Detachment 201 Executive Innovation Corps. So this is going after executives to put them into uniform and give them rank. The U.S. Army is establishing Detachment 201, and we talked about this before. The Army's Executive Innovation Corps, a new initiative designed to fuse cutting-edge tech expertise with military innovation. On June 13th, 2025, the Army will officially swear in 4 tech leaders. And we talked about this before. Okay, you're taking 4 tech leaders. Yay, red, white, and blue jingoism. A lot of questions, but it's 4 people. Who the fuck cares, really, at the end of the day? All right. Detachment 201 is an effort to recruit senior tech executives, and I didn't realize this. So it's not, these 4 are the start. Senior tech executives who serve part-time in the Army Reserve as senior advisors. In this role, they will work on targeted projects to help guide rapid and scalable tech solutions to complex problems. By bringing private sector know-how into uniform, Detachment 201 is supercharging efforts like the Army Transformative Initiative, which aims to make the force leaner, smarter, and more lethal. And with this, I really do have a question here. So they're taking these people and they're doing direct commissioning. So basically, they're taking you and they're directly making you an officer. And now, to be clear, this has been around for God knows how long. It's been around long before I was in the Army, and I was in the Army in the 90s, right? And where I saw this before is doctors. Right? So a lot of people used to give direct commission doctors a lot of crap. And the thing is that basically, they didn't know anything about the military. They just knew how to do surgery, which I'm fine with. Oh, you don't want to salute me back, but you'll fix my wrist? Fix my fucking wrist, right? It's like, we can either have a military where everybody knows when to salute properly, or we can have a military where these doctors over here aren't really sure of military protocol, but they will know how to do wrist surgery. I would prefer to have wrist surgery. Anyways, I was not given wrist surgery. But anywho, right? Anyways, so direct commissioning, when I saw it before, was basically for doctors, I think maybe other medical staff. And the idea was, again, you have a military, you give these people medical benefits. Oh, we're not going to get into that today. Anyways, they are promised medical benefits. And so if you do not have enough doctors, who actually want to serve directly in the military and go through basic training and AIT and all that kind of stuff. The idea is just to take normal doctors from the civilian world, shove them into uniform, and then they can go and they can do surgery. And again, that's more or less fine. The curious thing, again, with direct commissioning is many times they don't go through basic training, they don't go through AIT, they walk in from the civilian world, they're given a military uniform, and then they're just, sent off to do their jobs. Where, again, for doctors, who the fuck cares, really? But you do notice it with military protocol. They have no idea about military protocol because they haven't been through the training. And not only that, even if they do go through some training, it's not like it's hammered into them. For when I was in, basic training was 8 weeks. So you had 8 weeks of just getting the crap beat out of you. And then you went to AIT. AIT now, even for infantry, as I understand, is like 20 weeks. It used to not be that long. Anyways, even infantry now is like 20 weeks. So again, you're talking about months and months at the lowest level military whatever training that you're going to get. It's months and months and months of, just military protocol, saluting, attention, at ease, right? Preparatory command, action command, all that kind of horse crap, right? And so it just gets beat into you. And so that was the curious thing, is like with doctors and things, they just didn't have it beat into them. So you're like doing this shit, and they're just like, da, da, da. They have a little fucking conversation in front of you. And you're like, could you just salute back, please? Could you just please salute me back? Anyways, but they're doctors. They're doctors. I will take that. I will take that if you do surgery on people. What becomes interesting here, when you start talking about direct commissioning soldiers that aren't like doctors, we start talking about direct commissioning tech bros into the military, and you start talking about using them, right? Scalable, help guide rapid and scalable tech solutions to complex problems by bringing private sector know-how into uniform. Here's the thing: what happens when you direct commission your tech support, essentially, right? Because soldiers are soldiers. Soldiers are soldiers. Again, you show a civilian technology professional military equipment, and they go, "That looks very play school," right? You think about that, like with ruggedized equipment, right? Motorola. I used to deal with Motorola equipment. You would have the normal civilian Motorola radio, and it would be like $500. And you're like, wow, that's not too bad. Again, back in the day, Motorola, yeah, okay. And then you'd have the light industrial, so like it wasn't ruggedized, but the thing before ruggedized, and then you have the ruggedized Motorola radio. And so the Motorola radio was like $500. The industrial use Motorola radio was like $1,500, and then the ruggedized Motorola radio was like $4,000. Exact same function, exact same functionality across the board. One of these was built for a normal human being to use. The other one was built for people who might use it to literally pound in tent pegs. Wow, soldier, yes. Why are you using a $4,000 radio to pound in a tent peg? I couldn't find a rock. Fair enough, soldier. Fair enough, soldier. Right? It's a real fucking world. Right? It's that whole lived experience thing. It's the whole lived experience, understanding how equipment is going to be used, how gear is going to be used, what the people are like that are going to be using these equipments and these systems and the whole 9 yards. And so it becomes really interesting when we talk about bringing private sector know-how into uniform, and you're directly putting them to uniform. You're skipping basic, you're skipping AIT, you're skipping years of service. And you're just dumping them in this environment, and it'd be like, what would a civilian do? Who the fuck cares? Who fucking cares what a civilian would do? Because you're in a military environment, right? You're dealing with a lot of soldiers who, even in this modern world of 4% unemployment rate, still couldn't get hired in the civilian world. Come on now, can we be honest? The one thing I think we should be able to give our soldiers is be honest with them, right? The fact of the matter is, I mean, it's just the world, and it's just how things are done, and it's just curious to be taking tech bros and dumping them into this environment, and that they're also giving them that uniform, right? The Republicans, like at one point would not shut up about stolen valor. Really? Could you build a couple more hospitals? I tell you what, when everybody in the United States can get, not guaranteed, but can at least get medical care for a price that is not going to bankrupt them. Scream about stolen valor all you want. Anyway, stolen valor, right? They wouldn't shut up about stolen valor for a long time there. Now think about these fucking tech bros. Right? Think about these fucking snot-nosed, shitty-ass tech bros. Right? They go through life, They learn technology, they make a shit ton of money, fine, they're successful, and then they get a fucking uniform, they get put into BDUs, right? They haven't had the shit beat out of them, right? They haven't had their friends be permanently injured during training. They haven't had to sit there and console a buddy who had to shoot somebody and they can't just get that shit out of their mind. They don't know what the fuck PTSD is, right? They haven't woken up in cold sweat. You want to talk about Spaghetti Monster has a fucking nasty sense of humor? What the fuck is cold sweats? Night sweats? What is night? Like, what the fuck is this? You finally get to fucking sleep, and then all of a sudden you wake up 2 hours later, and your entire bed is a fucking puddle of goddamn water. What the fuck? Anyways, but they get none of that. They just get the fancy uniform and get to run around and play fucking soldiers. Little fucking poodles pissing on themselves, pretending to be soldiers. Well, sounds pretty appropriate for the Trump administration. Again, think about it. Like when I went through basic, we started with like 56 people, and 38 of us graduated. Right, I always think about that with how fucked up our military system is. Our system is so fucked up. But there was one woman who was in basic training, and she had literally been a New York runway model. Like no shit, an actual New York runway model. And I was talking to her one day, and I was just like, what the fuck? What happened? And it wasn't like she had been, right? She was like 20 years old. She was. And basically, she says, she had been doing the whole New York one-way model thing, and she had been very successful at it, very good. But then she looked at her product, what she was putting out to the world, and was like, I don't feel like I'm contributing to the world. Fair enough, right? And so for some reason, God knows why, for some reason in the 1990s, she decided joining the U.S. Army, that was the way to make her mark on the world. Anyways, fine. Whatever, fine. Well, the thing was, she had been a runway model. She. 2, runway model. And so you go into basic training. And basically all basic training is beating the ever-loving shit out of your body. Finding new and interesting ways to fucking grind your body into the ground. And so one of the issues we had back then, especially with women, was something called stress fractures. So a lot of women simply did not get a lot of exercise. Again, it's not something that's pushed in our society. So this is not a woman thing. This isn't like, oh, this is why women can't be in the army. It just happens to be how we treat our women in society. It leads to particular outcomes, right? And so what stress fractures are is basically like when I run, right? So I ran 12 miles this morning, right? I ran 15 miles on Monday, right? So when you run, when you exercise, that is compacting your bones. As your bones slowly over time are compacted, they build up rigidity, they build up resiliency so that you can beat on them more and more. Right? So I've been running for a while now again. I started at 2 miles 4 years ago. Then I went to 9. I've been knocking out these half marathons. I did 15 miles on Monday. I'll do 17 miles hopefully on next Monday, whatever, right? But it's okay, right? So I've been running for years, and then I'm adding to the load on my body, and my body continues to grow muscle. It continues to strengthen those bones, and hopefully nothing goes bad. One of the issues though is, especially when you dump people into basic training, like these military type things, they go from wherever they were at to military training damn near overnight, right? And so the problem is like for me, I've been traveling all over the country and doing all the stupid crap that I always do. And so I went into basic training, and I was able to basically pass all the PT tests, the final PT test, almost from day one. But for a lot of people, like with her, they come in and they came from being a runway model. What you're told about basic training is that they are going to train you up. The problem is, for a lot of people, 8 weeks is not functionally enough time in order to get the body to where it needs to be. right? And so if you take me, who have been backpacking around the country, doing a lot of stuff, you put me into basic training, I go from being in mediocre shape to being in excellent shape in 8 weeks. You take somebody that was a runway model, send them through basic training, and spoiler alert, her ass gets sent home for 6 months of bed rest and damn near no benefits for the experience. So basically she went out there with all the running and everything. There's something called stress fractures. Her legs were so fucked up within a month. Literally the military just booted her fucking ass out and told her essentially don't get out of bed for 6 months for you to heal, right? And that's the kinds of experiences you have. You have your friends, you have your teammates, you have the people that you're going through with, that you care about, that don't make it, right? And again, more than enough people I know that have killed folks and sitting there consoling people after they killed somebody, right? Going through the whole, and that's part of the military experience. And so what becomes interesting here with this direct commission, you know, if you look at direct commissioning a doctor, look, if you're going to fix my fucking, right, if you're going to give me surgery, oh no, I will not let this person take out my appendix because they don't know how to salute. Whatever. Right? But man, you're bringing in tech bros. You're bringing in Silicon Valley, shitty ass, snotty fucking tech bros. And you're directly commissioning them into the military, into the army, so that they can bring their know-how. It's not stolen valor. It's not stolen. Is this fucking dime store valor? This feels like fucking flea market valor. Little bitchy ass Silicon Valley fucking primpy ass goddamn poodles wanting to pay to be able to put a uniform on and pretend like they're real soldiers. I wonder how well that's gonna go over with the rest of the military. I'm just curious. I'm just kind of curious on that one. And then also, if they're supposed to be supporting the military, can you truly support an organization you don't fundamentally understand? Putting on those BD doesn't mean shit. It's about understanding the environment that you're going into. Anyways, Detachment 201 is supercharging efforts like Army Transformation Initiative, which aims to make the force leaner, smarter, and more lethal. Again, you're going to make the force leaner, smarter, and more lethal. But do you understand soldiers? Do you understand what it's like for these men and women to be out in the field and the reality of what they're dealing with? The 4 new Army Reserve Lieutenant Colonels are Shyam Shankar, Chief Technology Officer for Palantir, Andrew Bosworth, CTO for Meta, Kevin Whale, Chief Product Officer of OpenAI, and Bob McGrew, Advisor at Thinking Machine Labs and former Chief Research Officer for OpenAI. Their swearing in is just the start of a bigger mission to inspire more tech pros to serve without leaving their careers, showing the next generation how to make a difference in uniform. To show the next generation you too can be a bitchy ass little Silicon Valley fuck, and somebody will hand you a goddamn uniform and you will get the honor that was paid for in blood by other people. Again, why can't you make them contractors? Just make them fucking contractors. Like, nobody gives a shit. Contractors are paid well, they're pampered, everybody knows they're just make them fucking military contractors. Why denigrate the sacrifice of actual fucking soldiers by putting these jackasses into uniform. If we go over and we take a look at the Army Reserve and their direct commissioning program, apply your knowledge and skill set to a career with meaning. A direct commission appoints civilians with professional experience directly to an officer rank. Utilize your professional expertise to become a leader in the U.S. Army Reserve. Join a mission with purpose. Join in state-of-the-art facilities around the world. U.S. Army Reserve is seeking seasoned professionals for leadership opportunities. So apparently with this, you just go directly in. At least this is what it's currently explaining. As I understood back in the day, there was a limited boot camp or basic training, like 4 weeks or something like that. This looks like you might just go in. Beyond that, we then have the Army talent, the actual page for Detachment 201, with this very weird. This is the formatting. Anyways, Detachment 201, description. The U.S. Army is seeking top-tier, uniquely skilled technology professionals with a passion to provide an immediate and positive impact in fortifying the Army's defenses against rapidly evolving threats. We are looking for leaders who can drive innovation, accelerate modernization, and inspire a new generation of service, and we're doing so through a groundbreaking initiative, Detachment 201. Detachment 201 directly leverages the expertise of senior technologists from the private sector, offering a unique path to service as commissioned officers in the Army Reserve. So this isn't going on in as enlisted or whatever. You're going in as commissioned officers. This isn't just about bringing technical skills to the table. It's about bridging the commercial military divide and fundamentally changing how the Army adopts and implements cutting-edge technology. So you're going to be directly commissioning soldiers so that they can bridge commercial military divide and fundamentally change how the Army adopts and implements cutting-edge technology. You do know. I mean, does Trump in fact know it takes more to be a soldier than putting on the goddamn uniform? I guess they're not BDUs anymore. I guess I'm dating myself. What the fuck are they called? They're that weird digital shit. Anyways, they'll always be BDUs to me. Leverage your expertise. As a Detachment 201 officer, you will directly contribute to accelerating Army modernization, evaluating technology adoption, and advising on scalable solutions to enhance tactical innovation and lethality. Direct impact and strategic influence. You'll provide critical strategic decision support, utilizing your business acumen and technical expertise to prioritize transformative initiatives. Unique commitment. Through a direct commission as an Army Reserve officer, you'll offer a unique level of commitment, quote, skin in the game, fostering trust and collaboration with active duty units. Oh, you're going to have skin in the game. Because, at the end of the day in the Army, you all enlist as infantry. And then you happen to get additional skill sets on top of that. So these jackasses can go to the front, right? These jackasses, again, they're Army Reserve. They can get deployed for a year or two to God's asshole for no particular purpose to watch their buddies get fucking shredded and then be brought home, and everybody is gonna forget about the experience, right? That's gonna be their skin in the game, right? Please tell me that's going to be their skin in the game. Inspire the future, serving as an industry leader in uniform. And again, fuck you. Fuck you, you fucking shit stains. Inspire the future, serving as an industry leader in uniform. Fuck you. Send them to fucking basic. Send them to fucking AIT. Send them somewhere to fucking get ground into the fucking dirt. And then let them have a goddamn uniform. Oh, inspire the future. You too can be a slimy piece of shit. Fucking mine the wealth of a society that's been built up over generations and then be given a fancy military uniform so you can pretend to be a soldier. Anyway. You'll become an iconic leader and contribute to a surge of patriotic service. A surge of piss. Here's a uniform for you, and a uniform for you, and a uniform for you. Who the fuck needs... In Trump's America, who the fuck needs fucking basic training? Who needs AIT? Who needs an actual goddamn shot grouping? Anyways, building a talent pipeline for future generations of innovators and service members. Further information will be uploaded. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Detachment 201. Poodles in fucking uniform. Yay. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be curious to see where this goes, especially with the massive pivot towards like militarization in our tech industry. Again, it is weird for me, right? I served in the mid 90s. I'm not post 9/11. I am not a post 9/11 soldier, just to be fucking clear, right? Served in the 90s, but you know, when I got my MCSE in 2000, you go in the enterprise world, right? So many more technology professionals 20 some odd years ago were from the military, right? And it is just a mentality. It's a mentality I prefer. Let me be clear. If I have to deal with people either in blue hair or BDUs, I'd rather deal with the people in BDUs all day long, right? There's a mentality to it. And one of the curious things that I found over the past 10 or 15 years is there has been a massive swing to the blue hairs. You know, this whole idea that you should be able to protest your company on company time and get paid for it. I just don't understand, right? So I'm not anti that. What's weird here though is that you have all of these companies that were fucking BLM bootlicks 4 years ago, right? They were all just kissing the right side of history's ass 4 years ago. And now all of a sudden we see this massive pivot towards the militarization, right? We see this with was it Anthropic? Anthropic has come out with their national intelligence agents for artificial intelligence. OpenAI has a $200 million deal with the DoD. Meta, of all companies, Meta is getting into the DoD world with the XR, the extended reality type stuff. We just seen this massive, weird shift. And the thing is, like, and let me be crystal clear here. If big tech wants to support our men and women in uniform, that is a very good thing, right? If big tech wants to create career paths within their organizations to allow their employees, like really allow. Now, legally, there's a whole bunch of legal stuff, and then there's reality, right? So if somebody decides to go off and join the Army Reserve or whatever, there's a whole lot of legal stuff that the companies have to abide by, but, right, there's the law and then there's reality. So here's the thing. If these organizations really want to support our military and really want to support bringing tech expertise into our military, then creating career paths and guidance to allow their professionals in a clean and rather seamless way to be able to join Army Reserve, National Guard, Air Reserve, I got a lot. Reserve or Guard units, right, in technical capacities. They go off to basic training or boot camp for Marines. They go off to AIT. They do that thing. They actually become indoctrinated into the military. So you have technology professionals that are now military professionals. And that's one of the ways you try to empower our society, right? Bring the military experience, the actual fucking military experience, bring that lived experience back into the corporate world and bring the corporate world into the military. I'm all for that. Even with this, like with Detachment 201, you take people that have served, right? A lot of people serve their 4 years, right? They go in, they do infantry, they do whatever else, they do their 4 years. Post 9/11 GI Bill, damn, that was a beautiful thing. I want one of that. Anyways, there's this thing called the post 9/11 GI Bill, which I'm like, what? Anyways, they go out, right? They get their comp sci degree, they get in the technical world. They're doing things professionally. One of the things I talked about before, again with counterintelligence within your organization, is you have people that served in the military. They have become technology professionals. They're feeling a little down. They feel like they used to have a real team, not your horse shit, an actual fucking team, right? They feel like their work actually mattered. Whether or not it did, that's a different story, right? They felt all of this out. They felt the esprit de corps. They felt all of that, right? If you had a detachment 201, let's take the people that have already served, have gone into the corporate world, and now how can we bring them back into the military family so that we have people with these lived experiences? I am 110% behind those types of things, right? I talk about it, right? I'm out there. I ran 12 miles this morning. I ran 15 miles. I'm prepping for a marathon, right? The fact of the matter is my 48-year-old gimpy ass is probably in better shape than a lot of 18-year-olds out there. Sad to say. So you brought somebody like me back in the military, have me doing the military, whatever, right? I think that makes sense. But it really, I don't know if disgust is the right word. I'm trying to find the word, right? I get paid for speaking. I get paid for words. The thing of the name. When we use a word, what is the meaning behind the word? I'm not sure disgust is really the most appropriate word for this direct commissioning horseshit. But it's something along that line. And I don't know. I question if this is a good thing for the military. I question if this is a good thing for these companies. I question if this is a good thing for these people. UCMJ is real. UCMJ is real, motherfuckers. Because yeah, you're taking, you think about that with so many technology, especially modern technology professionals, right? So people ask me like, when you're a kid, were you playing with computers? Right? Computers for my generation, they were fucking wangs. They were green screens. Right? You have so many of these young people. They've been successful. Right? They made a lot of money. Right? I'm not shitting on them. Right? They probably need to pay more taxes. That's about the end of what I'll say. But right, you're in the computer world. Right? You're sitting there, you're doing your computer stuff all day. The reason you're good at doing computer stuff is because you lock yourself in a fucking room and stay away from everybody else. And you're gonna take these people and you're gonna slap them in uniform and put fucking officer bars on them. It's funny. It's the exact same fucking time, and that's what's hilarious about this administration. At the exact same fucking time, Hegsworth, what the fuck his name is it him? Anyways, right, is talking about dudes in dresses. He doesn't want dudes in dresses in the military. That shit's gotta stop. Right? Man. Right? At the same time, they're revamping PT requirements, physical requirements, so that women and men basically, apparently as I understand it, essentially have to match the same types of requirements so that women are not put into positions that they're not, quote unquote, physically able to do. Right? If you're going to be a soldier, there are standards for soldiers. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. All these standards and all these requirements and all this valor, right, is really important until you get to the fucking poodles. Until you get to the prissy-ass, pompous little fucking alpha dog poodles. Then all of a sudden, throwing them in uniform just makes a hell of a lot of sense. So, yeah, I don't know. That's my thought. It's the world we're in. How about hey, why don't we just have soldiers in uniform? I'm gonna throw this out. This is gonna be controversial. Oh my God, the blue hairs are gonna scream at me. The red hats are gonna scream at me. Everybody's like, ah! What if we just have soldiers in uniform? What if we just have fucking professional soldiers in uniform? Wouldn't that be a smart idea? I think that would be a smart idea. Oh Lord. But anyways, so there you go. So what do you think about this? It starts with four. It starts with four prissy ass fucking poodle pieces of shit pissing on themselves, getting their very own bars and their BDUs. And how far do you think this will expand? Are you like me, who completely understands why you would do this for doctors? They're like, yeah, Eli, you're hypocritical. You're giving those tech professionals shit, but you're saying it's okay for Yeah. Yeah, because if I need my bone set, I don't really care who does it. If I need my appendix out, I don't care who does it. If I have fucking what is it, the brain injuries or whatever, I just need somebody to drill into my fucking skull and drain some shit. If he doesn't know how to salute, I'm not worried about that, right? But these are going to be military people literally advising and pushing forward for how soldiers conduct operations, the equipment they're going to use, and that type of thing. And they've never been around 18-year-old privates before. The worst thing with that, too, the worst thing about that story, about some private sitting there banging a fucking tent post into the ground with their Motorola radio, the worst part of that story is not the private banging that tent post in the ground with the Motorola radio. It's a sergeant looking at the situation and going, No, there aren't any rocks around. Private, you are correct. I do not see any rocks around. I'm tired. Anywho, so what do you think about this? Do you think how they're doing this is a good idea? Remember when I wasn't in, so in the 2000s, so berets actually used to matter. Berets actually used to matter in the Army. So there's a green beret for the Special Forces. There were the black berets for the Rangers. There were the maroon berets for airborne. Were they red for air assault? So the berets actually mattered back in the day. Anyways, they went through and they changed their fashion, because it's fashion. Hats are fashion, dresses are fashion, clothing is fashion. It's not gender, it's fashion. Anyways, but there was a point, I think it was like 2005 or something. Anyways, or no, it might have been earlier. Everybody got their own berets. Everybody got the black berets. And apparently the Rangers were ever so unamused. They were ever so unamused. Rangers. Rangers. Holy shit. Ranger training is Ranger training. Ranger training is like, that is, right? You get your Ranger tab, you fucking earned your Ranger tab. And part of that is you used to get a black beret. And then the entire Army got black berets. And apparently the Rangers were ever so unamused by this situation. I do wonder, like, I don't know, maybe it's a modern world. Maybe soldiers in 2025 don't give a shit. Maybe soldiers in 2025 don't care if their officers actually know how to salute or not. Who knows? But do you think the soldiers are going to deal with this? Well, I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. Remember, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Say I'm awesome, say I'm stupid. It's the modern world of social media. All that matters is that it's an interaction. See y'all later.